Dear viewers of the Tom Photo channel, just recently I complained in my Fuji X-T3 video that the camera was missing a built-in flash, and that was something that kept it from being near perfect. Look what I've got now, mini camera flashes in my hand. They're so tiny you'd probably immediately ask whether they can actually function like normal flashes. Finding out what they can do is exactly the topic of this video. Expect some sample photos and various tests too, so please watch until the end. My mini flashes are from Zeniko, and they're called the ZF04 and ZF08. And did I tell you they are absolutely tiny? There's no getting around that. I'd like to thank Zeniko who sent me these flashes for testing. So my disclaimer is that I received these flashes as gifts. This does not prevent me from giving you my honest opinion about them. I must say the way the flashes are presented in their packaging is very nice. The ZF04 is packaged more traditionally, securely housed inside soft cushioned material. But the ZF08 comes in its own zippered case. It even has a wrist strap attached to it. This is very nice indeed, and it makes you want to take the flash everywhere. You can throw it in a suitcase or backpack and it'll be well protected. In the package you also get a charger cord. Yes, these flashes have rechargeable lithium batteries. They use Type-C charging. You don't need to buy batteries and you won't drain your camera battery when you use them. I must say I quite fancy their modern and minimalistic styling. Then again, would you imagine anything other than minimalistic? They definitely won't make your camera look bad. In fact, they'll probably turn heads, provided people can see small things well enough. I find that they actually add a stylish touch to my cameras. The silver version goes great with silver cameras, and the black one is universally solid choice. The ZF04 weighs 20 grams and the ZF08 weighs only 36 grams. Trust me, they're even smaller than they look to you now, and that means ultra portability. The ZF04 offers 2 power levels and can deliver up to 372 flashes at full power on a single charge. The ZF08 provides 5 adjustable power levels, catering to various lighting needs. It can produce up to 440 flashes per charge. The recycling time of both flashes is 3 seconds and the color temperature is 6500 Kelvin, which is normal daylight. They automatically power off after 30 minutes of inactivity to conserve energy. The shoe mount is standard and made of durable plastic. I suppose metal would be better here if I had to make a recommendation, but I understand why Zeniko opted for plastic. These flashes need to be small, light and affordable. The controls are very straightforward and simple. You'll immediately understand how they work. Hold down the on-off button for a bit longer to power the flash on or off. The button with the sun icon toggles between power levels. The ZF04 has 2 levels. For most purposes that's fine. The ZF08 is more versatile, with its 5 power levels. If you press the on-off switch briefly, the unit will send out a test flash to confirm it's ready. Let's look at some photos taken with flash and auto white balance using the Fuji X-T30 this time. I think the colors are nice, quite realistic. I really have nothing to complain about regarding the color temperature or how the flash performs. But let's see a bit more closely how well these flashes work. In my first test, I wanted to see how far the flashes reach at different settings. I used my Fuji X-E2 with the Fuji X-F27mm lens. I chose this camera for the tests because it's the kind of camera a typical user might have, not extreme in any way. First, I attached the ZF08 to the camera, turned it to full power, setting number 5, and determined the optimal camera settings for my scene. Those were ISO 200, f-stop 2.8 and shutter speed 1/60. I fixed these settings for all photos and shot the same scene using different flashes and power levels. This sequence shows how the image gets darker as I reduce flash power. Next I did the sequence with ZF04 at its 2 settings. Remember that the camera settings are always the same for all flashes. Here you can see that the highest setting of the smaller ZF04 can't quite keep up with the highest setting of the ZF08. It looks like setting 2 on the ZF04 is equivalent to setting 4 or 80% of the ZF08. This is the camera's built-in flash turned all the way up, compensation +2. It's also weaker than the ZF08, again roughly equal to its setting 4 or 80%. Then I brought in my Neewer Speedlite 752, which of course blows the socks off everyone else. You'd need to reduce its power to 1/16 to match the ZF08 and 1/32 or even less to match the ZF04's top setting. This flash isn't really part of the comparison, I just included it for reference and fun. Film simulation was set to standard and white balance to auto for all of the photos in today's video, in case you're wondering. It's great if your flash is powerful, but it's also important for you to be able to turn it down enough for close-up photography. I wanted to see which of my flashes offered the lowest light output, and I turned all of them to their minimum setting and then determined the optimal camera settings for the ZF08. Those were ISO 200, f-stop 4, and shutter speed 1/60. I then shot the same scene using each flash at its weakest setting, with all the camera settings being the same. The ZF08 gave me a very nice photo. The ZF04, however, caused overexposure, meaning its lowest setting is brighter than that of the ZF08. This makes it a bit less versatile for close-ups. The camera's own flash can be turned down dramatically using flash compensation -2, which is a good thing here. The Neewer flash surprised me. At 1/128 power, it was dim enough for close-up use. Comparing the Neewer and Zeniko, you'll see that the shadows fall in different places because the Neewer is so much taller, so Zeniko has the advantage for close-up shots. Let's now turn all flashes to the appropriate power and photograph a white wall from 1.5 meters away using the same f-stop. The goal was to see how evenly the flash falls on bright surface. The wall has some texture and doesn't very much reflect light. For this experiment, I switched to the Fuji XC 15 to 45mm lens and used 15mm focal length. At this wide angle, some flashes might struggle to offer good coverage, and I wanted to see that. Here are the photos taken with all 4 flashes at their optimal settings. The first thing I noticed was that the ZF04 photo displays a lens shadow at 15mm. This flash is so small and sits so low that even a modest lens can cause a problem. I also tested it with the Fuji XC 16 to 50 at its shortest length, and the same issue. So I had to exclude the ZF04 from this part of the test and continued with the other 3 flashes. These are the brightness profiles shown as heat maps. The brighter the pixel, the warmer the color. The camera's own flash creates a nice even circle, while the Neewer flash is a bit flatter in shape. But check out the ZF08. It almost looks like it's composed of 2 horizontal flashes with 2 overlapping circles visible. As a result, it does a very good job illuminating the frame. I also added numerical values showing how much darker the corners are compared to the center, essentially a vignetting measurement. In this test, the Zeniko flash scored best and the fancy Neewer scored worst. These calculations and images were produced using my own tool called Light. I'll be making a video on it soon and will provide a downloadable link for you, so please stay tuned, it is coming soon. Maybe subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications. Thanks for doing that. I've made videos on flashes before, check out the links below. One thing I always emphasize is that the trigger voltage of a flash needs to be low enough not to damage your camera. See my trigger voltage video linked below as well. Let me measure the trigger voltage of these flashes with my multimeter. I expect the voltage to be nice and low, but let's find out. Typically, to measure trigger voltage, you attach the multimeter and then press the test flash button. But for these flashes, you don't even need to fire them to get a reading. The ZF04 measures at 4.4 volts. That's nice and low, not going to harm any camera. Let's do the same for the ZF08, again 4.4. Alright, so we know now. My Fuji can theoretically handle up to 300 volts, but in practice I'd never go close to that. I didn't find any information about the flash sync speed for the Zeniko flashes, so let's figure out experimentally. This isn't super precise, but trying different shutter speeds tells us when the flash can't keep up and part of the photo gets clipped. Based on my testing, you can go to 1/250 safely. At 1/320, you'll see the bottom of the image start to disappear. I got the same result with both Zeniko flashes. So keep your shutter speed under 1/20 when using these mini flashes. So these tiny flashes are fun, but obviously they cannot replace large professional flashes. They don't have the power, and more importantly, you can't tilt them to bounce the light. That was never their purpose. And these little guys proudly fill their niche. What they deliver per cubic centimeter is impressive. I'm glad to have them, and I'm already considering selling some of my intermediate level retro flashes. I just don't need them anymore. Note that these Zeniko flashes are manual flashes. They don't interact with your camera's TTL metering, so you can't use them fully automatically. The best way to use them is in manual mode, taking a few shots to dial in your settings. That's nothing to worry about. This is how flash photography often works anyway. I've never trusted automatic modes with my other flashes either. Please check out my manual flash tutorial linked below. So where would you use these flashes? Primarily in street photography, travel photography, and as casual fill flash in bright daylight. It takes just seconds to pull one out of your pocket and attach it to your camera. I certainly recommend them if your camera does not have a built-in flash, like the Fuji X-T3. But even if it does, these flashes can sometimes still offer better performance than the built-in one, and without draining your camera's battery. If you decide to get these flashes, I've included some links for you down below. Personally, I prefer the ZF08. It's only marginally larger but offers more power levels and greater range, both higher and lower than the ZF04. It also sits a bit higher, which helps avoid lens shadows. Get the smaller ZF04 if you want to show your friends how small and cool a flash can get these days. I really enjoyed playing with these flashes. They make me smile when I look at them next to my bigger flashes. I'm now more likely to use flash in my photography. Thanks so much for watching. I'd like to invite you to subscribe to my channel and click the like button. This helps me continue producing photography related content. Enjoy your photography and your flashes. Goodbye.